Hello, all. Hope everybody had a good weekend. So, I've been looking back on my blog entries. So, this was one that, two different ones, but they kind of go hand in hand. And this is about change because we're all not good with change. Some of us love change, but some of us do not. And I found for most people, including myself, at times that growth and change, they aren't easy and can sometimes be painful. Even though you may not be able to see it, it's not as painful as staying or being stuck in the situation you don't want to be in or belong in. People are afraid of change, and people are afraid of the truth. Sometimes they just don't want to hear it. And they're afraid of how people will react. Also afraid sometimes to face or admit the truth to themselves. Sorry, my boss just texted me. I don't know what she wants. Sending it today. Sending it today. So, I don't know. I'm sending something to Grace. So, and it goes back to let them. Again, easier said than done because you're afraid of change, you're afraid of the truth, you're afraid of what people will think. And Drew Barrymore and Valerie Bertinelli, there was a little reel or clip, or I don't know. And they said it's embarrassing when your marriage fails or a relationship fails. And I feel that way. I haven't told anybody really that he's gone because things were going great. So I told people, and I feel like when I tell people about a relationship, boom, jinx it, and boom, it's gone. He's gone. So, you know, I'm a little embarrassed. Our mailman's here. Because I told everybody, and, you know, there was a picture, a selfie of me and him, and it was like, oh, you look happy, I am, and then it went in the toilet. So, and as hard as change is, we constantly have change in our lives. It happens from the time we are born, and it is never ending, you know, a series of changes. If there was never change, then we couldn't grow. And we go from babies to toddlers, from toddlers to young people to teenagers to, you know, young adults to parents. I mean, so we're constantly change. So sometimes change is good. I would say 50-50. I don't know what people think, but it teaches us something. It helps us grow. So I think maybe it's even more than 50-50, because change does help us grow. And all the changes I went through my divorce and everything, and after my divorce, even through Frank and Stephen, even this just last one, it constantly teaches us something, helps us grow, helps us learn. Sometimes it isn't what we wanted or expected, but change will happen constantly through our lives. I mean, we get older, we get wrinkles, we get aches and pains, and so, and the alternative is you die. Who wants that? So when someone does die, though, it leaves us or is no longer in our lives that's a big change when either someone dies, they leave us, like divorce, like when my mother died, divorce, or they're no longer in our lives, like Stephen. It's a big change because you were used to having that person. You were used to them. And like I said, whether it's death or they just leave us or they're just, for whatever reason, no longer in our lives. And you can take the change, you can accept it, you can learn from it, and you can move on. Or, I'm not saying right away. Stephen, when he left, it was a blessing because I just needed to be alone. And my divorce, I needed to move on. As much as I didn't, and I went through a lot of denial, a lot of pain, whatever. It was, there's my boss again. All she said was, okay. I didn't know I was FedExing it. I thought I was UPSing it, but I'm not UPSing it, postal service, but whatever. So we can take this change, accept it, like I said, learn from it and move on. This doesn't mean you have to forget that person or like the change, because a lot of times, especially I try to focus on the good times, especially with Stephen. The good things that came out of that relationship. My toilet, literally him and my son were ankle deep in shit. And if he wasn't there, I don't know, I would have had to call someone else. I would have had to deal with it. I would have been ankle deep in shit. My water heater went. I would have had to pay a lot of money for someone to come and replace it rather than having him do it. So I try to, and we did have good times. We went to the Taste the Country music festival. We did the Lighthouse Challenge down New Jersey coast and back up. So there was fun times, really. So I really can't complain about that. Was he shitty with some things? Yes. But I try to focus on the positives and the good things when he was in my life. So, and there's usually nothing we can do. Sometimes there's nothing we can do to change what happened. I had to learn that with Frank, that when I went to the support group and they said if he wouldn't have killed himself that day, it could have been another day and it might not have been preventable. And there was people in the group that had stopped their loved ones from killing themselves, only in the end, years later, months later, whatever. And they said, there was a saying, suicide is when they can't deal any longer. I don't know. I don't know the phrase, but so we have to take it, accept it. And like I said, what they taught us, how they loved us at the time, how our lives wouldn't have been the same without them. And remember the good with them. And it may be hard to imagine life without them, or maybe see your life without them at the time. Whether they passed away, they walked away, just try to always remember the good times. Remember the positives, not the negatives. Don't dwell on the negatives because that's just not healthy. And I'm a different person because I would have put up with maybe Kenny's behavior if I hadn't gone through what I went through with Steven. And so I learned from him that. And so it was a positive. From Frank, I learned how someone that truly loves you, how they treat you, and how they show it. And he did show me in so many ways. So, I mean, change isn't welcome. Change is inevitable. There's a saying, but again, can't remember that one right now. It's something along those lines. And change most of the time is not welcome. We didn't want it. We're afraid of it. And, or even if we wanted it, change is scary. I mean, starting a new job, you wanted out of the old job and you wanted a new job. I wanted out of the house that him and I shared and wanted it so badly. And oh my God, I cried handing over the keys that day. And because it's scary. So again, we have to look at it, change as a lesson, as us growing as people and learning something from it. Whether you're learning to live without someone or something, you might not be able to see it when the change happens, but you'll grow and you'll accept it over time. You really will. I mean, and one of the big changes is dating. It's online now. It's the world, and not just when you meet someone, it's the world of technology. And it's in today's world of technology, we're always in constant touch, or we want people, and we're like, oh, they haven't answered us. Oh my God, they read our message. They're not answering. And I have gotten used to people answering. I mean, one positive, like yesterday, I was babysitting my grandson later in the day, like 6 o'clock. And well, my son first said 5, then he said 5:30, then he said closer to 6. I have his tracking because my son's not good about answering his phone when I'm babysitting his children. So I need to know, where are you? I mean, he was at the concert last night. So you're at the concert? Okay. Can't pick up. But when he was on his way home, I was tracking to see where he was. So I knew when he would be coming, so I could jump out of the car because they were on a time crunch and get in the house and, take the baby and help them however way I could. A positive. Also, sharing your location with friends when you go and meet someone. One thing has nothing to do with technology, but if you're out there online dating, meeting someone new, first of all, what do you drive? Then when they get there, try to get a snapshot of their license plate, their last name. I will not meet them. You're not giving me well, I did meet Kenny without knowing. I don't know, did I? No, I didn't know his last name. Shame on me. But we have a code. We have a security question. And I did this with my daughter too, when she was in college. Just because my friend said, she asked me this weird question and I was like, what? Why are you asking me that? And she's like, just answer. And I did. And she's like, okay. And then later on, after I met this guy, I was like, oh, what was that about? And she's like, anybody could take your phone and go, I'm okay. And I'm like, oh, you're right. So having that security question, and we had, if someone else had my phone and I felt like I wasn't in danger, of course, I was going to give a wrong answer. And she would say, okay, thank you. This way we know that. So when you're dating, in a relationship, whatever, we can be in touch all the time. And I think we expect that too much. And I've tried to back off. Hey, I ask you something. No one's that busy that they can't take 2 seconds to answer me. So, but what I find, and not to pick on you men, but I find that when I text the guy, he doesn't answer right away. But when we don't answer right away, like, hey, I feel like I'm constantly being asked, where are you? What are you doing? Who are you with? And not just guys, but family, friends, whatever. And it's like, they want that instant. Like, why aren't you answering me? I have my read receipts off because, sorry, I don't know why I'm yawning. But by the same thing, we can say we're anywhere. I mean, if you don't have your locations on, which someone I just met, I wouldn't, they could say, oh, I'm still at work, I'm like working late, or I'm out with friends, or I'm just home hanging out, or like, how do you really know where they are? And how do they really know where you are? And I've done that with guys. I'm just like, oh, I'm out with friends. I don't want them to think I'm just sitting home waiting for, oh, I'm out with friends. I'll talk to you later. I'll text you when I get home. And they can say anything, like I said. Or they can say, oh, I'm home, because they don't want them to know they're out. But they could be out partying. They could be in a hotel room with someone else and they went to the bathroom to answer you. No matter what we say or where we say we are or who we are with, the person on the other end will have no choice but to believe us, to trust us. That's, So technology, I think, has made things more complicated. Do we need to be such in touch? Some say technology has ruined us, ruined relationships. So in change, the category of change, I'd like to know. So I have to cut this short because I think we have a delivery here at the office. But hope everybody's having a good Monday, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.